this is Sophie Lawson from sophielawson.com, and this is episode 27 of the So Free Art podcast, which is a little podcast I do each week about art and things. And this one I think is going to be a very little one. So I'm just going to talk about how I've realised that I want to move on from realistic pencil drawings, at least for the moment. But I'm going to talk about some of the things I've been thinking about why that was a bit of a struggle. So that's the topic. The little art tip of the week is going to be about digital painting and how to overcome eye strain. And I've got another little bit about lucid dreaming at the end. And I think that is it. Oh, there was something else. I'm still waking up early and it's still going really well. But I did notice something this week, which is that stuff just takes a lot longer than you think. And this reminded me of that quote from Lee Hammond, when she said how when you're drawing hair, when you're trying to do realistic hair, she said, when you think you're finished, you're not even halfway there. In other words, doing realistic hair is going to take a lot longer than you think. So that's the main lesson I've learned this week about waking up early. I'm still really enjoying it, and I think it's definitely something I'm going to keep doing now, I think, because I'm just getting so much stuff done, and that's quite exciting. So if we jump into this week's topic, what it is when I started drawing, my whole desire and motivation was to create my own characters. But as I started learning how to draw, I found myself going down this realistic pencil route. And before I knew it, I just focused on trying to do realistic pencil drawings instead of doing these characters or trying to work out how to design characters. So for a few years, I did nothing but realistic pencil drawings. And I got into this place where, even though I knew that wasn't what I wanted to be doing forever, I started feeling, and I really felt it the last year or two, I felt like I had to keep doing it. Even though I didn't necessarily want to, or I didn't have the same desire, I felt like I had to keep doing it because that's what I'd always done. And I guess there was a little bit of a fear there of, what if I change what I'm doing and people don't like it or something, which is a bit silly, but I think that's sort of what I was thinking. But every year I've gone into an art exhibition. That's with the art class that I'm a member of, the life drawing class. They have a yearly exhibition, and every year I've put my pencil drawings in since 2015. And what I normally do is, the month before the exhibition, I will plan to do a new realistic pencil drawing, and I've always really enjoyed doing that. But I've noticed that the last couple of years, that's really been the only pencil drawing I've done. And that was because I felt like I needed a new one for the exhibition. So this year it was going to be the same, and I thought I had picked a really good image. It's like a chipmunk with his hands in the air like a victory pose. I sketched it out and it was really fun. And I thought this could be a really good drawing. But as the time went on, it started to feel a bit like I was almost trying to force myself to do it. It wasn't as fun. Like when I'm thinking about doing a little Sophie sketch or an affirmation, like a drawing of little Sophie, I get really excited and I can't wait to do it. But with this pencil drawing, it started to feel a bit like, I don't know, I just didn't want to do it really. And then I thought to myself, why are you even putting art into this exhibition with your realistic pencil drawings when that's not what you're ultimately going to be doing, and it's not what you want to be doing? And I thought, just because I've always done that doesn't mean I have to keep doing it. And so this year is going to be the first year where I don't put my pencil drawings into the exhibition. But also this exhibition is more of a traditional drawing and painting, so I don't feel like my digital paintings would fit into that. So I've decided to not do the exhibition this year. And what's really funny is, during the week, I bumped into Dave Crocker. He's an amazing artist. I'll link to him in the show notes at sophielawson.com. And we were talking, and then I said about how I feel like I'm moving more towards digital painting and further away from realistic pencil drawings. He basically turned around and said that is actually just part of the process. And he talked about how when he was like a child, he used to ride a bicycle, and because he was riding that bicycle, it doesn't mean he rides a bicycle anymore, but he needed to ride that bicycle in order to learn how to drive. And I've probably not said that very well, but the way he explained that, it was really nice, because I sort of thought, yeah, everything in life is just a chapter, and it's almost like everything is just a stepping stone to get you to wherever you want to be. So, and like, because I don't want to be focused on realistic pencil drawings at the moment, it doesn't mean I won't go back to it in the future. Because that's something else I've noticed, is that things in life, they have a habit of going in a circle. So you might stop doing something thinking you're never going to do it again, but somehow it will find a way back in. And what Dave Crocker also said, which I really liked, was he said even if you never did go back to those realistic pencil drawings, they were still very important, and it's like those realistic pencil drawings will shape whatever you do moving forward. So it's almost like everything you're doing is just all going to come together. And so that's how everyone is going to be unique, I guess. That's how every single artist is unique, because everything they're doing is all like coming together. So I really liked that. And I just thought it was amazing how I randomly bumped into him and he said that, which just synced up with what I was feeling. And he's done that before. I remember in 2016, I was struggling, thinking, because I felt like I wanted to give up. And again, he said, this happens to everybody, but he said most artists don't talk about it because they think that nobody else is going through it. But he says everybody goes through phases where they feel like they want to quit. But he said the best thing to do is to just stop it. Stop trying to force the art back into your life. He said just let it go and it will come back naturally. And that's exactly what happened. A few months later, it just came back. And so he said if you try to force the art back in when you're not feeling it, he said you'll end up not enjoying it and you'll end up making it even worse. So he said the best thing to do is just forget about it, do something else, and he said it will find a way back in. So he's always had this amazing advice. And he is one of the most inspirational people I've ever met. And so just bumping into him, it was like I was so happy. And I do feel like when you don't enjoy what you're doing, somehow it finds a way into the art, and you can almost tell that, like, when the person is enjoying what they're doing, somehow that comes out in the art. I've noticed that. But I'm still going to be doing realistic pencil drawings this year, but what I'm going to be doing is focusing on these little 2-inch squared ones, which are called Lee Hammond. She came up with this exercise called segment drawings, and what it is you can do a little tiny pencil drawing, a really realistic, highly detailed pencil drawing in about an hour. So it's just a good way to practice the skills without having to invest in it, and I really do enjoy doing them. It's just the thought of doing a big epic 20-hour realistic pencil drawing, it just doesn't excite me at the moment. So I think the good thing about these segment drawings, which I'm now calling mini drawings, the good thing about those mini drawings is you can still practice the skills, but you can do it without having to invest a load of time. So that's basically where I'm at the moment with all of that stuff. And this sort of ties in with October, because next month is going to be Inktober, it's like a challenge that's been on every year, and I've never taken part in it because I've always been doing realistic pencil drawings. So what it is every day for the whole of October you do a drawing which can either be a digital ink or a traditional ink, and I'm going to do 31 days of Little Sophies and turn them into affirmations, which is a new thing I've just added to the site, which is like Little Sophie affirmations. So I do like a little drawing of little Sophie with one of my favourite affirmations. And affirmations are just like really inspiring things that you tell yourself every day. And the more you repeat them, the more you start to believe them, and it actually can change your mindset. So one of them, as an example, is I am in control of my thoughts. So if you keep saying I'm in control of my thoughts, if a negative thought pops into your head, if you keep saying I'm in control of my thoughts, sooner or later, it takes a while, you have to keep doing this every day, but in about three weeks or something, you'll notice that the negative thought will pop in your head, and instead of it taking control of you, you'll find yourself saying, without even thinking about it, I am in control of my thoughts. And then the next thing, that negative thought will just pop away. So affirmations have been really powerful for me, especially allowing me to do my transition to become Sophie. And so I just thought it was a really nice thing to team up my little Sophie characters, which is all about expression and gestures in the body, and teaming that up with these affirmations. I feel like it could be quite nice. So, and again, I think Inktober this year is going to be perfect timing to play around with that. And that's the key, I think, is I wanted to be playful, which is something I had noticed wasn't going to be in doing a realistic pencil drawing. It wasn't going to be as playful. So that's where I'm at the moment. And the whole of October is just going to be spent sketching little Sophie with inks. And I'm going to be doing that digitally on the computer, which actually ties in to this week's little art tip, which is about digital painting and overcoming eye strain and headaches, which is something I suffered from last year when I first started learning how to do digital painting. And the little art tip is to invest in some computer glasses, because I actually nearly quit learning how to do digital painting because my eye strain got so bad that it was just painful, and I thought that maybe digital painting isn't for me. And I tried so many things. There's this piece of software on the computer that called Flux, and what it does is it lowers the screen colours. It makes them warmer, which is kinder on your eyes. But that wasn't good enough for me. Then I started looking into what I could possibly do, and I found out about these things called computer glasses, which I'd never heard of before, and I'm wearing them now, and they're only the pair I've got they're only about £10 on Amazon, so they're very cheap. And all you do is you put them on, and it does the same thing as that Flux software. It makes everything have a yellow tint, which for some reason, I don't know why, when I'm working on a computer now, I can sit there for hours drawing, and my eyes, it doesn't hurt my eyes at all. So these are the best things I ever bought, and I don't know why, but it works a lot better for me than that piece of software called Flux. So this week's little art tip is to invest in a pair of computer glasses if you're working on the computer doing digital painting. Oh, and they're sexy too. These glasses I've got are really sexy. So it's not as if you're wearing these ugly glasses, they're really nice. So that's this week's little art tip. I was going to quickly talk about a lucid dream I had last night, and I've started doing something called wake back to bed, which is a technique I've learnt about on YouTube. There's a video from Dreamview's podcast. If you type in Dreamview's podcast, you'll find a load of podcasts about lucid dreaming with tips and advice, and one of them was wake back to bed, which is what you do is you go to sleep, and then after about 6 hours or so you wake yourself up, and then you stay up for 10-30 minutes to a couple of hours, and then you go back to bed. And for some reason it's a lot easier to become lucid. So I tried doing that for the first time really last night, Well, I've tried it because I actually wake up a lot. I just naturally wake up, which I always thought was a bad thing, but now that I'm doing this lucid dreaming, it's become one of the best things because it means I'm popping in and out of dreams all the time, which is, I see it now as a benefit. But last night was the first time I ever woke up and purposely had the idea of staying awake and then going back to sleep. And what ended up happening was I had 3 lucid dreams in the space of 2 hours. So I'd set myself this goal of finding a mirror in a dream, in a lucid dream, and looking in the mirror. So I found this mirror, and what ended up happening was I was trying to look in this mirror, and I realised somebody was pushing me, as if they were stopping me from looking in the mirror, and I turned around and realised that I had a doppelganger in the dream, who I almost want to say is like, it felt like it was, this doppelganger felt like a visual representation of my negative beliefs trying to stop me from doing what I wanted to do. And this doppelganger was just forcing me away from the mirror, and it wouldn't let me look in the mirror. But I became so determined to look in this mirror that I somehow pushed this doppelganger aside. And when I looked in the mirror, my eyes were like pure black eyes. It almost looks like pin eyes. It's really weird. And at first that used to scare me. And that's what actually triggered my first ever lucid dream, was looking at myself in a mirror in a normal dream. So it doesn't scare me anymore because I've got used to it. But what ended up happening was I realised that I had pushed this like doppelganger aside, which almost made me feel like I had overcome these negative thoughts trying to stop me. I became so excited, I started shouting out, "I am in control of my dreams. I am in control of my dreams." And then I woke up saying out loud, "I am in control of my dreams." So that just felt like a really powerful experience, and I just felt really like energized all day. All this morning I felt really excited. And what also happened was I had another lucid dream after, where I was able to see my dad, and that's been one of my main goals for the past few weeks, is to see my dad. And it's proven to be really hard and scary, but again, last night was the first time I ever did that, and that also really energized me because it just felt like I was making progress. So the lucid dreams, it's one of the most powerful things I think I've ever done, and it's just really fun. That moment when you become lucid in a dream, it's one of those things that, like, until you've experienced it, you can't really explain it. But once you have a lucid dream, I feel like it changes everything, and I don't think anyone could have a lucid dream and not be changed by it. So to me, lucid dreaming is one of the most important things that I'm doing at the moment. I would almost say it's more important than art. But I definitely recommend listening to that lucid dreaming podcast because it will really inspire you. And I believe that the reason I had so many lucid dreams last night was because of listening to that podcast. So I'll link to it in the show notes, which you can find at sophielawson.com. And I believe that is it for this week's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. You can actually find this podcast on YouTube now as well, at youtube.com/sophielawson. And if you have any questions, comments or ideas for future topics or things you'd like to talk about on the show, you can send me an email at sophie@sophielawson.com, or you could also go to the YouTube channel and just leave a comment on one of the podcasts, because that might be easier. And I think that is it for this week's show. The only thing left is this week's inspirational quote, and it goes to Sharma. And it is, "Change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end." Sharma.